Good evening, I'm your host, Jack Remington, the Jack Remington NFL channel. Didn't do too good last week. I'll put the screenshot up here. We're stuck at 41, had a chance to crack into the top 10. 1 win, 3 losses, and 1 push. Just really quick. The only one we won was the first one was the Colts, and we won that by 1 point. They're up 33-0 halftime at the Minnesota Vikings, and the Colts had the biggest collapse in NFL history, going back 103 years. And Minnesota came back from a 33-0 halftime deficit, ties the game up 36-36, and they kicked the field goal with the last second into 10-minute full overtime. So it took them 5 quarters, but they got the win. They clinched the NFC North. Jeff Saturday says, well, I'm going to play some obscure quarterback that no one ever heard of. I defended Jeff Saturday because of this business that, the Colts going to hire, they fired Frank Reich, who I thought was an excellent coach. They just needed to give him a little more time, but these owners were impatient. Most owners are impatient. And then they hired Jeff Saturday, and they had 2 great head coaches on their staff already. John Fox used to be with Carolina. Gus Bradley used to be with the Chargers and a couple other teams. I mean, they're both excellent head coaches, especially John Fox with a resume like his. And Irsay, the son, bypasses them both and decides, well, I'm going to hire Jeff Saturday with no experience. He didn't want the job. And he's making comments at conferences, well, I don't even know if I want the job next year. So he won the first game, and we had them. But Jeff Saturday's done nothing since. He's showing he doesn't really have any interest in being a long-term head coach. But we won that one because we had the 4 points. Next one we had the Jets. Jets took control of that game against Detroit Lions. But Zach Wilson, he didn't do all that hot. But the final score, what I want to talk about here about the Detroit and Jets was the sack stat. Detroit, 3 sacks. The Jets, 0. That shocked me. Detroit's defense has stepped up a lot. I was impressed with their defense. I'm also impressed with their offense. They made their adjustments in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. And the Jets shut them down, per se, with the medium to long-term range bombs and passes. But then they started throwing these little screen passes, and it worked. The screen pass was right through the middle of the field, line of scrimmage. The guy goes 51 yards for the go-ahead score. And the Jets missed a field goal at the end to tie it up. Then we had the Tennessee Titans +3, and they were at the Chargers. And the Chargers got the ball. They looked like sliced butter. I mean, Tennessee looked bad on defense the first opening drive, and looked like Chargers were on their way. We had a loser. But they held them, and they scored halftime with 7-7. And so finally, someone scores in the fourth quarter. The Chargers got it together and had 14-7 with one last-ditch effort, a couple punts back and forth, and some missed passes and a fumble out of bounds, whatever, stopped the clock. And Tennessee got the ball back in one last muster of effort. Derrick Henry and Tannehill looked pretty good that last drive. They tied up 14-14, but I was hoping they would go for 2 at the end of the game. We were all sitting at the bar, cronies, watching all the games, and well, it's not a bar, it's a sports bar. Yeah, go for 2, Vrabel, and he wouldn't go for 2, which would have gave us a cover, because with 30 seconds left, Herbert got him down the field, and they kicked the field goal to win the game. So that's a push. That's our 4th push this year, and they're all landing on 3. Then we had our meltdown. We had the Bucs plus 3.5, 4.5, whatever it was. And they were up 17-0 halftime against the Bengals, and then Grammatica missed that field goal. The guy missed that field goal for the Bucs. And it wasn't a long field goal, and the look on Tom Brady's face, and I looked at the guy and said, well, now I may have to sweat that. I might need those 3 points. No, you got a winner, don't worry. The eye test is so important. You got to be able to watch the games. And sure enough, in the 4 possessions in a row, including Tom Brady, he fumbled the ball too. And notice how Tom Brady, he didn't yell at his teammates anymore once he fumbled the ball. So he lost his team. He went to some wedding, Robert Kraft's son's wedding, or he went to some wedding. Took 5 days off. I thought it was 1 day. He took 5 days off of practice. He did something else too during this time. He had to go away and do something, bet the girl, bet the divorce or something. And if I'm an NFL player and you're on my team, but we make special rules just for you, and you're 45 years old, and we're starting to struggle, I can see why they're half-assing it. Okay, we're going to show your ass, buddy. And I said this on the other video, and there's no bigger fan of Tom Brady than me. I mean, I've made so much money off Tom Brady, it's sickening. I would lose all my subscribers if I had how much money I made off Tom Brady. I know I'm talking about the Super Bowl loss where I lost $30,000 in one game when the Giants beat my ass, but I'm still way ahead on Tom Brady. I mean, way ahead. So, and I started betting on him when he was that first year when he took over for Drew Bledsoe. So, but we lost that game. Was that I had the Bucks plus 11 on the second leg of my teaser. I won the first part of the teaser. It was the Bears under, and I won that teaser. The Philadelphia Chicago under 57. I won that, and had the Bucks plus 11. No, they finally get the garbage touchdown, and Brady looked pretty good doing it. It was a little too late. Cuts it 34-23, 11 points, right? And just kick the extra point because now you're down 10. You get onside kick and you have a chance. No, they go for 2 and they don't make it. And so I got to, instead of having a win, I got to push. Thank you, Tom Brady. Then we had the Patriots. I'm not even. The only thing I'm going to discuss is that you can't hear the commentators on all the screens. You get to watch the games, but there's no sound. They were down at halftime. They had a block punt, and the Raiders running in, got a safety, whatever. Patriots looked good in the third quarter. Early in the fourth quarter, they look like the Patriots of old with the defense. And Mac Jones didn't look that bad. He only completed the 13 or 14 passes, but he didn't look all that bad. He did no interceptions. That's 2 or 3 games in a row he hadn't thrown a pick, and he looked like he was reading his check downs. He looked pretty good. No, they on 4th and 10 they let that Waller do this big quick what they call the middle flood of the field and gets this quick out pass. I mean they should have stopped that. And then the game's over. No, they gives Derek Carr, who is their best player on the team by the way, got him this touchdown play. But it looked like the guy's foot was out of bounds, and they said, well, inconclusive. They said they didn't have the proper angle of the seat. That guy was clearly out of bounds, but that's okay. 24-24. What happens? You got 13 seconds left. The Raiders kick off, and that running back for the Patriots, he was going to break a decent run. And instead of just going down with 3 seconds left, he threw the ball to the guy, and then Myers threw the ball, and that Chandler Jones, he used to play for the Patriots, by the way. He was our best pass rusher that 1 year for the Patriots. And then when we're all, and Mac Jones, he didn't even try to tackle the guy. That upset me. So 1 win, 3 losses, 1 push. We're stuck at 41. I had a chance to crack the top 10 because the top 10, there were 5 people top of the 44. That could have been me if I'd have picked up a couple of these wins. But I didn't. I felt sorry for myself for 5 seconds. And I picked myself up, and I'm going to come right back. And this is why this is fun. I know you're probably thinking he's pissing and moaning every weekend. But you know what? I'm just trying to tell you the emotions involved, that what you go through as a handicapper. But you know what? This is why we do this. We do this not because it's easy. It's because it's hard. If it was easy and you won every week, we'd get bored. We'd go look for something else. Don't think it wouldn't happen to you, because it would. Long story short, we're bouncing back. I got Fish Sang's screen up here. No one hit the 5-0 last week, so it couldn't have been that easy even a week for anybody. So we did go 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 push on our teasers. We lost with the 6.5 point teaser. We had the Colts Vikings under 55, and it was 33-0 halftime. You like to think that okay, we're just going to run the ball. We're going to put in another quarterback. They played back, and to their credit, they came back to fought back to win. But that's the only one we lost. We pushed with the one I just talked about, the Bucks. We won with the Steelers +9, Falcons +10 on the 1. We had Tennessee San Diego under 55, Colts +11, won that. And the 8-point teaser, one that you have to win. Well, I've lost 1 already this year because the juice is $1.40. We had the Pats +7. We won that by 1 point, thank God. And the Titans +11. So we're doing okay with the teasers. We're way ahead on the teasers, way ahead on cash money, way ahead on half times. So let's get to the games this week. This is the part of the video. It's do as I say, not as I do. I might lose. Every time I do this, I lose a subscriber or 2. They don't like the attitude. They don't like what I'm telling them. But this is a do as I say, not as I do. And my top pick for this week, it's not a handicap pick. It is a sentimental pick. I'm taking the Steelers -2.5. They're hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. And this is the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. And anybody who's been around football for 5 years has heard of this. And if you're my age and older, you've seen this. This is the most amazing play ever in all of football. Let me give a quick story, the real quick story, and you'll understand where I'm coming from here. I've been betting on games since I was like 8 or 9, 10 years old. My lunch money and everything else, and I lose my lunch money. But now I'm in high school now, and I got a part-time job. I got a couple bucks in my pocket, and I got $5. I got the Oakland Raiders +5.5. I mean, I got a winner. I got a winner. They're going to get them damn Steelers. They're going to get them, And it was a knockdown, drag outs at Three River Stadium, the old Three River Stadium. Steelers managed to kick 2 field goals in the first half from 6-0 halftime. Back and forth, punt, back and forth, fumble, interception, back and forth, back and forth. But on, I think it was 3rd and 13, they had sacked, on second down, they had sacked Kenny Stabler for a 3-yard loss. But the old snake, Kenny Stabler, he was a decent runner early in his career. I mean, he could take off, and that was his last resort. But when he took off, I mean, he was an amazing running quarterback when he wanted to be. The next thing you know, it's 3rd and 13, and they had this guy named Jack Lambert and missing a tooth, from the only player I ever saw from Kent State. And he gets away from Jack Lambert, and he goes down that left sideline for 31 yards, and they couldn't get him. He scores a touchdown to go ahead 7-6. And I'm going, hot damn, pay me, like a minute left or whatever it is, and you can hear a pin drop at Three Rivers Stadium. I mean, they stunned them, and I got my 5.5. I got a winner. 4th and 10. Bradshaw, the quarterback from the Steelers, goes back, throws a ball, and from what we gather to this day, the ball either hit Jack Tatum and got in the air, and Franco Harris picked it up just before it touched the cone of the ball, touched the ground, and he just runs with it, just to run. That's your instincts take over. You're trying to score. He played for Penn State. Franco Harris, rest in peace. He passed a couple days ago. This is why I'm doing this. Joe Paterno taught all his offensive players always go towards the ball in case there's a fumble or a weird interception that bounced off the guy, and you can just pick up and you can go. So that kicked in. I mean, we did it. You see him on these incomplete plays, and the whistle blows offsides, and they blow the whistle, and the guy picks the ball up and runs anyway in case it's a live ball. You were taught as a football player, and I was taught that too. It's a live ball. You run, you score. And every now and then it holds up. We laugh about it now, but at the time, if we're on the wrong side, we're not laughing. But so there's 3 questions. The 3 questions for this immaculate reception is, did the ball hit Frenchie Fuqua first? He was halfback. That was the only one that was Bradshaw could see. He just 4th and 10. He got Jack Lambert barreling down on his ass. And today, if he got hit in the head, Lambert hits him in the head with his hand, and it's a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down today. But back then in 1972, it was not. So he just gets rid of the ball. It's 4th and 10. You got to throw the ball, but it looked like they might have hit Jack Tatum first. So Jack Tatum was all over him. Should have been pass interference, because Frenchie Fuqua had no chance to really catch that ball because they had Jack Tatum from the Oakland Raiders on his rear end. And then the next question is, did the ball touch the ground? A lot of people say, and Pittsburgh Steelers fans at the stadium, at the game, on that side of the field said it hit the ground. It the cone of the ball, and Franco Harris just happened to pick it up and just run with the ball. So, and Franco Harris never talked about it. Frenchie Fuqua has it written on a piece of paper, and it's in his safe in his home. And when he passes away, he's got the answer for you. And at the end of this video, I'll have the screenshot, and I'll put a link below to the Peter King interview with Terry Bradshaw over the phone. And just scrub through and listen to the parts where he talks about the immaculate reception, and you are going to be shocked. Number one, you'll be shocked that Terry Bradshaw, he's not the, hey, how about this and happy. He's not the affable, outgoing. He's extremely articulate. He's extremely reserved, and he's matter of factual. And he gives it away in two separate spots. I'm not going to give it away on the video here. I need you to listen to this video, and he talks about how they stopped the game for 15 minutes, which seemed like a lifetime. And I remember this. You got to remember, I was a big football fan all my life. And I got that $5 riding online. I wanted to win the bet. It's not really the $5. I wanted to win the bet. I felt to handicap the game right. Bragging rights. And I'm the only one that had the Oakland Raiders. Everybody else had the Steelers and Mean Joe Green and the Steel Curtain and Ernie Holmes. And they had some beasts on offense and defense. And because of this game here, that game we're talking about right now, the Immaculate Reception game, the Oakland Raiders at the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoff game, is divisional round. That game, 2 things happened. They changed the rule. The rules committee next year, they met for 5 days in Hawaii. They went for 3 days to 5 days for that 1 year. And they decided we're going to have, you can have 2 offensive players touch the ball twice in a row. If it's still in the air, they still catch the ball, and they can make a play. And the second thing is now, instead of only having 8 cameras, there's 32 cameras at every NFL game. So they added 24 cameras per game, per stadium, no matter what. So they eliminated several problems because of this game right here. This was the trailblazing game, this Immaculate Reception. And I know I'm rambling on here, but it's important to me. So do as I say, not as I do. I lost a bet, but years later, fast forward 15 years later, I'm going to Vegas. I'm with the guys, the unofficial syndicate I was with. I was the 10th guy that they took in. I was like the next closest age guy was 35 years older than me, but they took me under their wing. They taught me a lot of what I know now, And they all said they all had Steelers. They needed the Steelers too. And Franco Harris, I was crushed when he passed. He was 72. See, to me, 72 is not that old. I'm 65. So I could think, I mean, these guys are dropping. Russell Crowe passed last week. He was 58. He was 7 years younger than me. How can this stuff be happening? Marvelous Marvin Hagler passed last year. I did a video about him on my political channel. And it's my top-ranked video of all time. I spent a lot of time on it because he meant a lot to me. He was 66. You know, I mean, it happens. We all got to go. But I'm here to tell you, Franco Harris passing it hurt me a lot. And it hurt a lot of Steelers fans a lot. I know I rag on Tomlin, the coach for the Steelers, a lot. I rag on him endlessly. And he deserves a lot of this because the stuff he's done over the field and the things he's incapable of taking the team further. And the great team he inherited, he's only got one Super Bowl. He got to appear in another one and got creamed by the Packers. Of course, we had the Packers. Well, anyway, but this one time I want Tomlin to get some Steelers sentiment going and tell this team that, you know, this is for Franco Harris. This is for that immaculate reception. That put us on the map. And we became the world beaters for 6 years, 4 Super Bowls in 6 years. Never been done since. Okay, this Steelers team was one of the best of all time, and I'm telling you, their defense was just amazing. I'm taking the Steelers. This is a do as I say, not as I do. If I lose this game, it's not because of a bad handicap. I'm not handicapping the game. I'm taking that as sentiment. I want the Steelers to win this game so bad. I'm willing to get in front of the world on my YouTube channel and blow this pick. So, but I'm going to take the Steelers. I want the Steelers. I want them to win this game for Franco Harris and the old Steel. And then one quick thing. Mike Webster, they used to call him Webby. He was a starting center for most of his years for the Steelers in his days when he fell in hard times when he got out of football and the wife threw him out and he was having some substance abuse problems. Life was hitting him pretty hard. And they weren't making the money the guys make today. And Mike Webster was on the streets. And Lynn Swan and John Stallworth, they put money in the phone booths, or they had landlines. They all got together. Terry Bradshaw, all these people. Terry Hanratty, the best backup quarterback that the team could ever have. He would go 4 for 7 in relief, but those 4 passes would be 4 touchdowns. I mean, he would throw that little wobbly ball, but he'd get it there. I mean, the guy was amazing. They all called each other. Hey, they pitched some money together, and they found Mike Webster, and they put him in a home. They try to take care of them. That's why this team, these Steelers are great, because they were real men and they took care of each other. They had the camaraderie. No wonder they won all those games. They were on one wavelength. They were a true team. Okay, and football is the ultimate team sport. I want them to win this game. Do it for Franco Harris. Do it for the great Steelers of the '70s. You can do this. Now let's get to the handicapping games, and I'll try to keep it in rotational order. There's 10 games on Saturday, only 3 on Sunday. I've never seen that before, so correct me if I'm wrong. First game we're taking the New York Giants. We're getting Giants +4. We'll take it. Vikings just played 50 minutes of dogfight football. They came out flat the first half, and you saw what happened the second half, and good for the Vikings. And yeah, as long as other handicappers keep ragging on the Vikings, all their false record team, and the Giants too. But you know what? We're at the end stage of the season. They are what they are. The Vikings offense has actually done very well. Kirk Cousins is having his best year ever stat-wise. Given that, and I always knew he was a decent quarterback. But the defense and special teams has fallen apart, and that's why people like me and handicappers like me are not high on the Vikings. They're not impressed with them, and they're very vulnerable. They may have the worst defense in that division. Think about that. They have the worst defense and worst special teams in NFC North, and they do. But their offense is pretty good when it's clicking. They got the Jefferson guy. He's unstoppable. The Giants, they started out great. They snuck up on Tennessee week 1. They snuck up on another team here and got an overtime win there. And they overtime last week with the Commanders. I didn't have them, but it was a surprise to me in a way, because the Commanders were playing pretty good football for a 7-game stretch. But the Giants, if Saquon Barkley can stay healthy, and Daniel Jones is actually he's getting a little better. Yes, the Giants still have that what they call the false record, even at this late stage of the season, where Minnesota's kind of proven themselves offensively. But the Giants are getting better too. They're better than what they were last year and the year before. I mean, I can see an uptrend for the New York Giants, and I think they're going to catch the Vikings. Already clinched the NFC North. They're going to catch them flat. And I think the Giants are still fighting for a spot. I think the Giants want the game more, and we're getting 4 points, just looking for a field goal, looking for a close game, and we're going to just go for the cover. Got the favorite with the Steelers, and we got a dog with the Giants. Next game, we got a dog. We're taking the Commanders. They're at San Francisco 49ers. Now, I'm going to take you back to this Brock Purdy, whatever his name is, Purdy's first game. The followers on the stands crying, it's my son, and that's good and fine. They're making a hero out of this kid, this Mr. Irrelevant. I'll call you later. The 7th round draft pick, and he's okay. I like the guy. He's all right. He's a good football player. If they suit anybody up, they can play the game somewhat. So let's establish that first. What we do as handicappers, we split the atoms. We're splitting that plutonium-235 to make the atom bomb. How do we do that? We pick out the ones that can do it better than the other atoms. So that's our job as handicappers. So that's what we're doing. Okay, that first game against the Bucks, there was a bad interception. I mean, the guy threw it right to the Tampa Bay guy, but it was called back for some kind of offside. It was kind of, I mean, he was saved twice. There was a fumble. That fumble, he fumbled the ball. Someone was offsides and saved him, or whatever. So there was 2 plays in that game. There was a play last week. I didn't watch the game last week. The sports bar told me that if Purdy did it again, it was strip sack, and the guy ran it back, but someone was offside. They called it back. So, but this time, there's Riverboat Ron Rivera's head coach of the Commanders, and Jack Del Rio's the assistant head coach. They're gonna stop this rookie. They're gonna stop this guy. They're gonna make him pay for his little mistakes he's been getting away with. He got away with the Bucs game because the Bucs are imploding because Tom Brady lost his team early in the season. But the Commanders know this. The Commanders know that 49ers clinched it. They clinched the NFC North. I mean, they clinched the NFC West. Oh, I can't. Hey, B.
What do you say, spaceman?
Hey, I'm filming right now. Can I call you back in 10 minutes or 15 minutes?
Who's this, a spaceman? Of course.
Yeah. I'll call you back in 15 minutes. I promise, B.
The Remington, thank you.
Okay, bye. They're fighting for a playoff spot. They just got beat by the Giants in a kind of fluky play. The 49ers, they've won their division. They can't get the first seed, so they're just going to coast, and they're locked in their position. I think the Vikings are locked in. They're going to be the 3rd seed. Whoever wins the NFC South is going to be the 4th seed, and they'll be one and done. No matter which wild card team they host, Philadelphia's going to be the number 1 seed. They don't have match where it's half a game. If they get a tie or one of the other game, the Dallas or one of these teams tie, they don't have to do anything. They're in. They're already in the playoffs, but they're going to get the 1st seed. Go Gardner Minshew. But I don't have them. I don't have the Eagles this week. But I'll be watching. I want them to win because I'm a real big Gardner Minshew fan. We're taking the Detroit Lions -2.5 at the Panthers. What's wrong with this line? I mean, my line, I got the Lions -5.5. I mean, they should just walk all over this Panthers team. Let me tell you, their defense is playing much better. I don't know what that Campbell guy, the Campbell coach for Dan Campbell for the Lions, he did something to them. They've been playing really well, and I'm going to keep going against it. I keep denying the Lions because I saw how bad they looked. The Patriots beat them 29-0 earlier in the season. I mean, I saw that Lion team. I keep thinking that's the same team, but they're not the same team. And Jared Goff, I'll keep telling you, he's a very capable quarterback, and he's got something to prove, and he's got his brain on. Watch out. He beat my Jets. They looked good doing it, too. And they didn't panic. The Jets started taking control of the game, even though they couldn't sack Goff not one time. And I keep telling people, I had them. And this is when they were 1-6. They had the 4th best offensive line in football. I mean, their offensive line is awesome, and they're only going to get better. They're young. The Lions got something, and they're showing it, and they have momentum. Panthers, yeah, the Panthers are okay, but I just think I think the Lions are the team of destiny now. I mean, they got that offensive line. I don't think the Panthers are going to get the Goff at all. The Jets can't sack them. What do you think? The Panthers got the same defensive line as the Jets do? They don't. They're good in their own right, but not like the Jets. Jets got a fierce pass rush, and they couldn't get the Goff not one time. Panthers don't scare anybody on offense. At least the Jets are somewhat capable, and they shut them down. So I'm taking the Lions, and they're going to keep barreling. But the line, I keep thinking, they're only giving the Panthers 2.5. What's wrong with this line? What do they know that we don't know? Is it a trap game? Are the Panthers going to sneak up on them and beat them in overtime or whatever? We'll see. But I'm taking the Lions. I mean, get distracted. It's holiday weekend, and that's part of my handicapping. You can't go too crazy. Every team, no matter what they're striving for seeding for playoff games or postseason, this is Christmas week. They're not, and the coaches know this too. They're not going to be 100% focused on the game. So I'm on, because of this week and next week too. I'm only going to do one teaser, and we're going to take the New England Patriots +3, so we'll get up to 9. They're hosting the Bengals. Just keep it close, Bill Belichick. Just keep it close. Mac Jones, don't implode. And then the second game, we're going to take the Eagles. We're going to take Gardner Minshew. It's 5.5 here on the line here, and we'll get up to 11.5. And I think they'll just keep it close. Cowboys probably win the game. Cowboys, they're locked in the 5th seed probably, but they still might try to win anyway. They've been looking pretty bad last few weeks, and then Mike McCarthy's now he's got to flex his muscles, old school coach style, and a couple of defensive back positions and one linebacker position is open camp. He said, I'm not going to announce a starter until we see how you do in practice. Now he's flexing his muscles, and it's going to piss the players off. But you know what? It's too bad. Mike McCarthy, you're the boss. You're the coach. You tell these players this is what you need to do, and that's why you're there. Don't be this. Oh, I got to do what Jerry Jones says, and I'm afraid of Jerry. No, you tell him I'm running the team. Okay. If you think you can do it, then take the headphone sets right now. Parcells, Parcells fought back. He told Jerry, hey, look, Jerry, I got this. And he backed off because he learned his lesson with Jimmy Johnson, didn't he? Those are the 5 picks. The Steelers, Sentimental game. The Giants, the Redskins, the Redskins. I'm just calling the Redskins. We all know what we're talking about. Oh, and the last pick, we're taking the Packers +4 at the Miami Dolphins. Tua has not looked well. He's playing hurt. Tyreek Hill's playing hurt. He still may catch 1 or 2, maybe 2 passes, big passes. But Green Bay's defense, Green Bay is getting healthier. They're looking a little better. They've picked up that's from the slump, that the midseason slump where they just couldn't do anything right. To me, they're still a dangerous team. We're getting Aaron Rodgers +4 points. He's healthy now. If they win out, they get the 7th seed. So if they got something to fight for. Miami's got something to fight for too, but their defense is nowhere near as good as the Packers. Packers got the better defense, and they actually got the better special teams this time. I know last year, Terry Bradshaw and company on that halftime show, TV show, I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers over the Packers, and I'm going line, and I loaded up. I already had small units on the 49ers with this 4-point, wherever it was, and he just gave me that push over the cliff, and that was my big win. That was the only dog that won too, by the way, in that wild card weekend. Well, anyway. So those are the 5 picks. Got the 1 teaser in. Sorry it's a long video. I've got a lot to say. Rest in peace, Franco Harris. I love the Steelers teams from the 70s and 80s. You can do it, Steel Curtain. I know I lost that bet, but with the Raiders +5.5, I don't care. I just want the Steelers to win. It's a sentimental game. I know I'm not supposed to do this on the channel, but it's my channel. I'm going to do it. I'm not copping an attitude. This is who I am. You're supposed to get the truth. You're getting the truth. This is who I am. And I can pick games. We're just a hair away. We're a cusp away from breaking it out. Thank you, players. Always great day to be American. Long live the NFL, the greatest team sport of all time since the invention of man. And stay tuned for the next video. Happy Christmas. Happy New Year's. See you next time. Thank you.
Last chance for the Steelers. Bradshaw trying to get away. And his pass is broken up by Tatum. Tipped off. Franco Harris has it. And he's over. Franco Harris. He grabbed it with 5 seconds to go and scored. Watch this one now. Bradshaw's looking to even get rid of the ball. He shoots it out. Jack Tatum deflects it right into the hands of Harris. And he sets off, and the big 230-pound rookie slipped away from Ward and scored. When you talk about Christmas miracles, here's the miracle of all miracles.